Well, first off, that was a physical opponent in Eastern Washington, and we played a physical game. So there's, a lot of players with some, bumps and bruises that, we're going to have to heal up in a hurry. We have a full practice every Tuesday, and it's really our longest work day. So they have to come ready to go, and we got to get what we can out of those players and give Eastern Washington a lot of credit. They are an outstanding football team. I think an outstanding football program, which you might not have said 10 years ago. I think their program's come a long way, and again, tremendous recruiting base in the state of Washington. But very proud of how, first off, the defense played, very courageously, down in the goal line area. Hopefully that goal line stand will go down in history as one of the best, because, it really was. And obviously it ended up being very important by the end of that final score, so that was neat to see. Our offense did some outstanding things, and just the consistency factor of not getting a first down in the fourth quarter, some of those things where we did not finish as we would like to finish as a program on offense. So back to the drawing board, of course, this week as we prepare for whom I think is an outstanding opponent, as was Eastern Washington and Sacramento State. They have probably at one time last year the best quarterback in the league for a 4.5 game stretch in Fleming, and 3 tremendous receivers. You see them do an outstanding job against Oregon State, actually running by a lot of Pac-12 corners and safeties. And I think Oregon State had 4 PI, pass interference calls, because they were catching back up to Sac's receivers and pulling on their jerseys as the ball came. So they have a lot of speed, like Eastern Washington's receivers. That's how I would rank those guys. So it'll be a very formidable task for us down in Sacramento. Yes, their running back, I think he got close to 1,000 for 2 years in a row now, and he takes a lot of pressure off Fleming, Hilliard, and he's a physical running back. And I know our defensive coaches are trying to prepare for a game plan that forces him back into all of our tacklers, like you would on a kickoff return or a punt return. Force him into all your tacklers that are in the middle of the field. So, because if he gets out on the edge and gets one-on-one with a safety or a corner, he's that physical type of back that's hard to bring down, versus a really quick back that will give you juke. He'll give you juke, but he'll also run you right over. So he's going to be a challenge to defend. And again, Fleming has a lot of poise, has quite a few starts under his belt now, and tremendous quarterback. When I first watched the videos, I did not think so, and then the more I studied, again, he could put his foot in the ground and take off and do some really good things. And he did that against Oregon State when they really needed some first downs, and the pass protection wasn't quite there. They ran him, and he scrambled around and got some positive yards. And the reason I think he is a better runner than he might appear to be is because they have a designated quarterback runs for him that have a blocking scheme for the quarterback to keep the football. So in that regard, I think they respect what he can do. I think he's a better runner than I would say our 2 quarterbacks last year, which at times, Andrew and Roper did a nice job putting their foot in the ground and going. So I think he's just, a little bit faster than those 2 guys. I don't think they really respected our offensive line as much as they will now after 316 yards rushing. But I really think that they felt that they could get a tremendous pass rush with 4 people against our offensive line, because they have felt that that's their strength, for over a year now as they run to the national championship, when their D-line played an outstanding role and a major role in the wins down the stretch, the comeback wins. They made great plays. So that was their strength. They felt our O-line was a weakness, and so they tried to capitalize on that. And by doing that, once we did pop through the D-line in the run game, we had some space before the backers got there. Now, again, in that fourth quarter, you can see the backers coming down, and maybe we should have thrown a little more in the fourth quarter, but we were getting some pretty good chunks on the ground. Well, again, as we talked last week, very hard to hit Bo Levi Mitchell because of how fast he gets the football out of his hands. But we were able to do that a little bit more than I think we might have thought. They had a couple injuries on their offensive line, and I think that might have affected their pass protection at times. And a lot of the time, I'll give a lot of credit to our secondary because we put them in some situations where they were manned up a high percentage of the game, and I think Houston did a nice job. Tremaine did a nice job. Sean Murray came in and played pretty darn good coverage at times. So I credit those guys to allow our defensive line a little more time to get home on the quarterback. Well, what we've seen is a little bit of a mirror image of our defense. In fact, yesterday we kind of joked around. It's just going to be a blitz fest with our defense versus their defense, and whoever can pass protect the best is going to win the game. And it might come down to that because they blitz everybody. They actually are very unique. They'll put their defensive linemen, they'll put them back as linebackers and rush the quarterback from there. So it's hard to get a count on them. And by that, you can't really gear up to stop their best defensive player because they're always moving him around. So you're going to have different people blocking him, or he'll be in different space. So really hard to get a beat on those guys. We know they're going to blitz, and we just have to prepare for every blitz imaginable. Well, I think there was. I think I think Sac looked a little bit fatigued, which surprised me a little bit because I know they play fast as well on offense. So that part was, showed up a little bit, and then maybe just a combination of things that just got out of hand. But their game against Oregon State was almost totally different. So, and then you look at Weber and you go, oh my goodness, when we playing those guys, and then you got to get back to your focusing of this is 1 week at a time, and it's Sac State, because there's some great opponents left out there, but I don't know when we play them. I know we play them sometime this year, but I know we play Sac State on the road this week. Well, Nash and Todd Davis is the other player, and he's leading the team with number 91. He's leading with, I think he has 29 or 30 tackles, so that's quite a few tackles per game. But they really move him around to the defensive end spot, or they'll put him in the middle as a linebacker. And there he sits staring your quarterback down, trying to intimidate you. And I'm glad I'm not the quarterback because he looks intimidating. But, we got to take care of him. And I know last year he did some, for their side of the ball, he did some great things for Sac State against us. And the whole year he was a unanimous pick by the coaches for all conference. So obviously he's a very consistent player, and he's playing that way this year. I saw that from him in high school, and like the question about Jordy being a runner, I saw that in high school as well. Now, obviously, this is a different level. Guys are faster, guys are bigger, guys are stronger, but, our players still have to make those similar plays. A lot of people thought John was too small, maybe to play at this level, some other schools, or a bigger level than us. But what I saw was the ability to run and violently hit people, and he did that. The bonus to me was the interception. I hadn't seen him do that too many times, and I'd love to see that again. There might have been times where we could have thrown a little bit more on some first and second downs. However, they did have the 7 guys, playing in the secondary. As those backers came up, maybe some different thoughts on play action to keep them there, and then layer the routes. So we'd have one receiver going behind those guys, and then we did go for it with 8 minutes or something left, I think, or 9 minutes left. We did go for it on 4th down, and, you know, I'd do that again. I really believe, just because where we were in that game, you know, we wanted the offense to make a statement by getting that 1st down and giving our defense a little more rest. And unfortunately, we didn't get that. And, you know, that was, it could have been costly, but thanks to our defense, it was not costly. Well, I think if our players do an outstanding job of video study of just our game last year, I think they'll be very motivated. Anytime a team takes your quarterback out, you should be motivated, or don't get on the airplane.
Well, our defense blitzes all the time, and our slide protections, we go against our defense every day, obviously, and they've kind of learned where to blitz and how to blitz, and I think a look like that, when you have to stay 100% true to your slide, it prepares us for anybody that wants to blitz. Our defense, I think, prepares us each and every week. Well, as an offensive lineman, I'd like to run the ball on every play. I mean, it's more fun, and it's nice. You don't really notice the stats. We just care more about, you know, keeping the drive going, getting in the end zone. We'd like to pick up a couple more of those, you know, 3rd downs, 4th down. But I felt we did pretty well, and we had a lot of guys shuffling in and out, and I was pretty happy with how we all played. Dan gets you the tough nose yards, and you have Jordan and Pete come in, and they'll get you, you know, to make a guy miss here and there. And it's nice to block for all 3 of them like that, because if you aren't, you know, you miss one assignment or whatever, they'll make you right. Or if a guy starts to come off, they'll cut back inside and put him right back on you. They set up their blocks real well, make life a lot easier on us. I'd say we're on track, but we're not where we want to be. I mean, you want to get better each and every week all the way throughout the season. You're never 100% happy, because there's always something you can fix. But I like where we're at, but we definitely need to put in some work. Well, the young guys are doing a nice job. Both of them had a little experience coming in last year. They're both really good at, I would say, just listening. You know, if an older guy says, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that, they'll do it. We do a lot in practice, you know, watching the film after practice. And we all talk up there. We're all real good at communicating what we need to do, what we need to do better. And it's nice to have Chuck and Opie on the outsides, me in the middle. We have a good balance. I don't have to make all the calls. They help me out. If I make the wrong call, one of them will correct me. And we're pretty good at telling each other what we need to fix without it becoming a problem, you know, someone getting upset or anything like that.
Our mindset as DBs were just to shut him down. Looking at the 2 games before, him throwing 60-plus passes each game and over 400 yards for each game, it was a big test for us, but we welcomed the challenge and put it up really well. I feel great about the way it turned out. We cut him in half, really. Threw for, I think, 45 passes and 50% completion, and we really did our job. Yeah, I mean, definitely means a lot to me. Not too many guys get that chance to go back home and play in front of the people that have, I mean, really watched me from the beginning of my football career, since 7, 8 years old. And I feel great, and I'm probably a really emotional game, but at the same time, it's still a business trip. Sac State is not a place that I would like to be. I mean, just to be honest, I got a lot of friends there, though, that I've played football with since I've been playing football. And I don't know, just not my thing, really. Just to stay home and play football, it's a focus thing for me. I'd rather be away and in better place. It's different offense than Eastern. They run like more of a pistol offense. And I mean, yeah, the receivers are pretty much the same. They got some height at receiver, got some speed and stuff. Scheme-wise, we're pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Part of maturing, I guess. You can start saying they're kind of young, but I think it was a good test, and we showed that we're capable of doing a lot of great things.
I would say Nash is probably their best defensive lineman. You know, they blitz all the time, just like Coach said, and you know, it's definitely going to be a test for our offensive line and our whole offense to see if we can, you know, handle that type of pressure. I didn't really anticipate it. I thought they'd bring a little bit more pressure than they did, but you know, it seemed like they were content with just a 4-man rush, and you know, at times they did pretty well with it. But you know, I think our offensive line played great, as I've said before. You know, I don't think it really changes what we want to do. I think we're going to do, you know, what we're best at, and you know, just continue to get better throughout the week. But, you know, it'll be a lot like playing our defense in practice. You know, they bring blitzes from all different directions on almost every play, and, you know, I think that'll definitely help us prepare for Saturday.